Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Summer of Me. I am so happy to be here with you guys. It feels so good to have the podcast rocking and rolling again, seeing your guys' feedback, hearing all the things that you want to hear me talk about, the topics we want to have, the guests we want to have, all of it. It feels so good. I am talking about excuses today. I had a recent conversation with somebody and they asked me what my biggest pet peeve was. And I was like, oh, this is so easy. It is when people complain about their circumstances, they complain about their situation, they complain about their life, their marriage, their relationship, their job, their finances, they complain about it, okay? That's number one. Like, I fucking hate complaining. I think it is the biggest waste of time. It is the biggest waste of breath. To me, I'm like, if you are going to complain about something, literally just write about it in your journal. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to don't even give life to it. Stop complaining. Stop complaining. Complaining is for 9-year-olds. It is, well, actually, honestly, it's not even. Like, when Winnie complains, I'm like, take it outside. But number one, my biggest pet peeve is complaining. Number two is when somebody complains about something repetitively and then they don't do anything about it. I swear to God, it makes me want to implode. It is so frustrating. It's so hard to listen to. And so today we're talking about why you should stop making excuses. I truly believe that, like, if everybody just stopped making excuses and either owned their shit and owned where they were, or decided instead of fucking complaining about this and spending the time thinking about it that way, I'm going to figure out a solution. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to take a risk. We would be in a far greater place as a culture, maybe, dare I say. If you are blaming your kids, your job, your ex, your past, your this, your that, you are going to stay exactly where you are. So if you're okay with that and you're like, I just want to complain, great. Get a long journal, take a lot of notes, write it all down, and then you fucking sit in your circumstances and exist. That's fine by me. Do that. Do you, boo-boo. For me personally, if there is something that's bothering me in my life, that's something that I find myself either thinking about, complaining about, or actually complaining about, because God knows, while it may appear to be, I'm not perfect, then I am not going to sit there and just continue to bitch about it. I'm going to be like, how do I fix this problem? And I understand it's not always like that cut and dry, and there's work that goes into it and all that. So we're going to talk about it today because I am really passionate about this. And I think that if you can master not complaining and then master even further not making excuses for the places you are in your life or the things that you're doing or not doing or the businesses you haven't started but want to or the bank account that's dwindling, like if you can stop making excuses and just start taking action on some of that stuff, I think you can change your life. What is an excuse? Well, first of all, excuses are like assholes. Everybody has them. You've heard this before, I'm sure. But I think that at the end of the day, an excuse is a fear in disguise. It is like a fear of failure, a fear of success. Like oftentimes we don't even know we're afraid of success. It's a fear of judgment. People are always, oh, I don't know what they're going to think about me. They're going to talk shit. Yeah, they're 100% going to talk shit. Somebody commented on a reel yesterday that I posted and was like, your nipples are pointing in different directions. Listen, Brenda, if you have fucking time to assess which direction my nipples are pointing in, which by the way, my boobs are fake. My nipples are perfectly aligned. But yes, I'm wearing a tight top and they might be pointing different directions for 5 minutes. Get fucked, Brenda. Fear of judgment. Fear of rejection. Like if you're asking for something, if you're putting yourself out there and you're like, I don't know if I want to do that because they might not like it. Yeah, they might not. You're probably going to get rejected at least 4 times, 5, 6, I don't know. Fucking keep going. Fear of visibility. Like if I put this out there, people are going to see it. And if they see it, I'm going to have to show up and I'm going to have to do these things. These are all very, very real fears. And we just tend to say, okay, well, I have all these fears. It's easier to just make excuses than it is to actually overcome these fears and do something about it. So here we go. Watch me whip, watch me nay, watch me make an excuse. You feel like in the moment you're protecting yourself. Like, oh, well, I wanted to do that business, but I don't know how to do social media, or I wanted to get a divorce. I don't know. You're actually self-sabotaging. You are telling yourself, your brain is telling yourself, you're right, bitch. You can't do it. You're right. That's not going to work. You're right. They're going to judge you. And so then you keep making these excuses. And before you knew it, all of these thoughts that you have rehearsed and you keep thinking about or whatever, they have become real. You have manifested this into reality and you're not enough and you are being judged and you are going to fail and you are not going to have the success you want and you are going to get rejected and you have just created this world. Okay. You have created this reality for yourself. Congratulations. You are the queen of excuses. And now you get to go sit in your circumstances. Sorry. I'm feeling spicy today. Here's some of the most common excuses that I hear. And again, it varies. This episode's not necessarily targeted at one thing or another. And, you know, my hope is that my heart and my intention always comes off purely. I understand there's always extenuating circumstances. There's, you know, so many different things at play, but we're talking on like a, you know, pretty broad level here. I would say that the two things that I hear from my community the most about like what people make excuses about. Number one is business. I do Arbonne for a living. I share about the business opportunity. I share about how to bring in an income, sharing about products that you love and build a community and build something that's residual and all this. And anytime I do this and I talk about it, I get people like, I really want to do this, but I'm a normal person. I really want to do this, but I don't know how to do social media. I really want to do this, but my husband says I shouldn't. Fucking shit. That one pisses me off so much. I mean, I don't have a husband, but whoever ends up becoming my husband, like if they're like, you shouldn't do that, like where the fuck is the cheerleader in you? I'm sorry. That's a whole nother episode. So women, I'm going to say women because I feel like that's mostly my audience, but women make excuses about why they can't do this business, why you could do it, but they can't. And it's oversaturated. Look, I could go on. I could do an entire episode just listing all of the excuses that people make about that. The other one, and I talk a lot about divorce. I talk a lot about relationships and dating. The other thing that I hear all the time is like, I want to leave my spouse, or I want to get a divorce, or I want to be separated or whatever, but I don't have a job, but I'm not financially successful, but I don't have the means to do so. But you're right. You probably don't right now, but guess what? You can figure it out. You can go get a job. You can go start cleaning houses. You can babysit other people's kids. There are so many things that you can do as an entirely unqualified human, whether you're like, this one, I've been a stay-at-home mom for the last 10 years. Okay. Cool. I'm glad you got that opportunity. Now that era of your life is over. So what are you going to do next so that you can proceed in your life and leave the man who's being abusive to you? Or what are you going to do next so that you can proceed in your life and start over, start fresh, actually honor yourself and leave somebody who you don't want to be with? And yet you show up and decide to live every single day in pain and misery because you are going to make excuses about why you can't leave this person. I don't know, make it make sense. So here, take either of those into the equation. The most common excuses, I'm such a hand talker. If you're not watching this, I am basically doing ASL as I talk. I don't even know ASL, but I am just touching the sky over here. I'm going to sit on my hands to try to be better about this. Some of the most common excuses that I see. Number one, I don't have time. Hold my beer, Trisha. Hold my beer. You don't have time. Really? Okay. I'm not going to sit here and compare like how many kids we have or how many this or how many that, but I can pretty much guarantee you that you have the time if you are willing to make the time. Nobody has time just fucking sitting around. Nobody's got just a bucket full of time. Time is based on priority. What are you going to prioritize? What are you going to make time for? What are you going to cut out of your day so that you can fit this in? What are you going to sacrifice? Maybe it's a Netflix show. Somebody asked me today on an Instagram Q&A, hey, do you watch shows on Bravo? Bitch, I wouldn't even know how to get to Bravo on my TV. I don't watch TV. I don't watch it because guess what? I could be making money on the hours that I'm watching TV. I could be doing something productive. Do you like watching TV and is that soothing for you? Great, do those things. I'm just saying if you want to change your circumstances, if you want to make more money, if you want to build a successful business, if you want to, earn enough to be able to take your family on vacation or whatever, you're probably going to have to cut something. And TV is a pretty easy thing to cut. So I don't have time is literally like, stop talking. I'm speechless. Cat's got my tongue. You have time if you are willing to make the time. Guess what? Years ago when I was married, I had 5 kids. My husband was traveling for work every single week. I ran 2 different businesses. I was a stay-at-home mom and I was homeschooling my kids during COVID. Okay. I was doing all of those things. And guess what? What I gave my time to was the things I cared about. I prioritized my business because I cared about making money. I prioritized working with my team because I cared about leadership. I prioritized those things. And so if you are struggling with time and you're like, I just don't have time to build a business, I encourage you to stay up later, get up earlier, cut things out of your life that are not doing anything positive for you. They're not getting you a net positive. If you're like, I'm overweight, but I just don't have time to work out. Well, you have time to eat. So now what? Number 2, I don't have support. Okay, great. Well, you don't have support. Let's say it's to build a business and your husband is like, I don't think you should do that. Take his little bitch ass out back. If you don't have support, then you need to find people in your life that will be supportive. You need to find a community that's supportive. Find one friend. Find one friend. I don't fucking care if it's ChatGPT. You can find people that are supportive, and the people that aren't are either going to get on board or they're going to get off the boat. For me, it was like, I'm going to do this whether you like it or not because I believe in it and it's something I want to do for myself. I want to make this money. Let me be clear. My ex-husband was very, very supportive of me starting a business, but had he not been, it would not have stopped me. I would have been like, bye bitch, I'm out of here. I'm starting a business. Okay. So I think that sometimes you can either find people that are going to support you or you can proceed without support and you will find support along the way. I can guarantee you will find the community. You will align with people that are doing the same productive things you are and you will find support so fucking fast it'll blow your mind. And when you do, you will watch yourself skyrocket because when you align with people and you put your heads together and you feel supported, it takes you a very long way. I'm not like her. I love this one. I love when people are like, well, I would do this, but I'm not like you. Yeah, you're right. We're two different people. That does not mean that you can't do this. That doesn't mean that you can't out-succeed me. It doesn't mean that you can't do things differently. There is no playbooks. Business specifically, there is no playbook. You see people that are like doing weird ass shit and making crazy decisions and whatever. And guess what? They're probably being really fucking successful because they're doing it differently than other people do it. So if you are saying, I'm not like her, great. Show up, sign up, sit down, let's get to work because this is exciting. You have uncharted territory. That is the best case scenario. I think about this with Alex Cooper. She does Call Her Daddy. When she started out, she was so off the cuff, so different. I remember she did a whole episode talking about how to give blowjobs, and she was talking about how you should, like, the noises you should make and the things you should do. And like, it kind of got like really crass. And like, people still talk about this because she was so off the cuff. She was so different. She wasn't like a prim little podcast, whatever. She was like, let's just fucking talk about the shit that nobody else is willing to talk about. And she became wildly successful. She is like a multi-millionaire. She's gotten all these podcast deals. She's a badass. Call Her Daddy. Like, she is a fucking rock star because she was willing to not be like everybody else. And I think that we use that as an excuse. That's your superpower. Your superpower is that you're not like other people. Okay, so you can't do social media. Big fucking deal. There's a billion other ways to advertise and market yourself out there. There's a million other ways to sell a product. If you're saying I'm not like her in terms of like dating, or you're not that girl or whatever, good. Go find somebody that matches your freak. Go find a weirdo just like you. They are out there and they want to see you and they want to be with you. But if you're going to sit here and be like, I don't know, nobody wants me. You're right. You're right. You're actually going to create that reality for yourself and nobody's going to fucking want you. And you're going to, live a long life alone. That's mean, but it's kind of true, guys. It's not the right season for me. Okay. See you in the fall. Bye. I don't want to hear your fucking excuse about how it's not the right season. If you're approaching something and you're like, it's not the right season, no, you're not ready. You are not ready. Come back when you're ready. There is never going to be a right time. There's never going to be a moment in your life that's like, the sky's open and it's like, it's time. It's time to divorce your husband. It's time to start the business. Abso-fucking-lutely not. It is not happening. There will never be a right season. It's when you decide that it is time, whether it's a fucking Tuesday at 3:00 or a Sunday that's the first of the month and the stars align perfectly. You have to make the decision. This is the right time and the right season for me to start this, completely avoiding all of the circumstances around you. I met with a girl today whose daughter has a terminal illness, and she was like, I want to start my Arbonne business. I want to be part of something. I want to build something. I want a distraction. Her daughter has a terminal illness, and she is not sitting down and being like, bad season. She's like, where the fuck do I sign up? Okay. I tried once and it didn't work. Well, good. Great for you. You're going to have to try about 800,000 more times. Okay. Rejection is redirection. Keep going, keep pushing forward. If that is your excuse, you are going to have a long life. I don't care if it's parenting. I don't care if it's business. I don't care if it's, marriage, honestly. Tried once, didn't work out. YOLO, let's keep going. Who's next? I kind of joke about that, but truly, like, I look at my life and I'm like, I was married for 10 years. I was married to somebody who was 10 years older than me. I got married when I was 21. We met when I was 18. I was a small child when we met. I was basically a teen bride, a teen mom. Like, I look back at baby pictures of who is now almost 13, my oldest. And I'm like, we grew up together. We might as well be siblings, bro. Like, honestly, because I was such an infant in that time of my life. And I tried that. I tried that marriage. I worked hard at it. We did this, we did that. I tried once. You think I'm just going to be like, no, I'm going to be single for the rest of my life because I tried once and it didn't work. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I loved being married. There was parts of it that I absolutely loved. I love being in a relationship. I am actively seeking a relationship. And to me, I'm like, why would I stop? Why would I say, oh, I guess that's not for me. The universe said, bad girl, sit down. No. I'm like, nah, dog. I'm looking for somebody else to be like, bad girl. I just really think that, like, if you're sitting here and you're making an excuse, think about it. Think about what that excuse is. Like, why are you making it? Why do you keep saying that? Why are you writing that story for yourself? And once you have a little bit of awareness around your excuse and why you're making it, you may be able to redirect yourself and change your path. What it really comes down to, number one, it's priorities, not time. We talked about this. It is ultimately, at the end of the day, like, you are going to prioritize the things and the people and the spaces that are important to you. For me, I show up for my business. I show up in the world of dating. I see all these things on TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever. And it's like, if you want to date a single mom, like, you're good luck, because she's always going to cancel on you and she's never going to have time for you. And she'd rather be alone and with her kids or whatever. That's not me. I don't relate to that. You know what? I want to have a partner. I want to have a spouse. So I spend time and invest in people that I'm interested in dating. If I go on a couple dates with somebody, I'm really interested in them. I'm gonna invest in that person because I'm like, I could see a potential future with you. I'm gonna put my time here. I'm gonna get a babysitter for my kids if this is your only night to go on a date or whatever. I'm going to prioritize that. That is important for me because I love relationship. I love having a partner. I love feeling encouraged by somebody and encouraging and loving somebody, all of these things. So I'm going to prioritize that. It's not for everybody. It's definitely for me. I prioritize work because I want to be a rich bitch. End of the day, I want the time freedom that money affords. Money is not the goal. It's the time, it's the freedom for me. And so obviously I want to make as much of it as possible. So I'm going to stop watching TV. I'm going to stop going to bars. I'm going to stop doing all these things. I'm going to work. If I have a 5-minute break, I'm going to work. I'm going to sit down at my computer. I'm going to strategize. I'm going to send an email. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go on my stories and drive the needle forward. I'm going to do those things. It's ownership, not blame. Number 2, what it really comes down to. Priorities, not time. Ownership, not blame. Stop saying, oh, well, this person doesn't do this. You know what? Take some fucking ownership. There's a book or a podcast. I can't remember what it is. It's called Radical Ownership. And so what it really comes down to, priorities, not time, ownership, not blame, courage, not comfort. Okay. Let's talk about this one. It is really easy to act how you feel. It's really easy to be like, I am going to just do what feels good. I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel in my comfort zone. And at the end of the day, taking excuses out of your life and doing something that feels uncomfortable is courageous, and it's what's going to take you to the next level. And so if you're feeling like you're always choosing comfort, you're likely aligning with your excuses. When alternatively, if you are saying like, how do I be courageous? How do I take a risk? How do I do something that's hard or different? You're likely choosing the path of most resistance, which is the path that typically leads to change and to growth and to doing hard things. And last but not least, you cannot heal and grow at the same time as you are protecting your excuses. So keep that in mind when it comes to, do I want to choose this excuse? Do I want to choose comfort? Do I want to blame other people and say I don't have time? Or do I want to grow, and do I want to change my circumstances, and do I want to do something that's maybe different than I've done in the past, and possibly, I don't know, get a different result? Things that happen when you stop making excuses. I have seen this single-handedly in my life. I left a marriage that I was comfortable in. I had to get a job when I otherwise would not have had to get a job. I've always worked, but I had to get like a full-time job with insurance and the whole bit. And when in the times in my life when I have dropped my excuses and been like, fucking pull up your big girl pants, it's time to get to work and do the damn thing, so many massive changes have happened in my life. Number one, I built momentum. You build your momentum when you take small baby steps. People think like, oh, I'm going to get this momentum. I'm going to get this motivation, and then I'm going to make this change. No, that change happens because you take small little baby steps. You stop making an excuse one day, and then you stop making an excuse 2 days, and then it's 3, 4, 5 days. And all of a sudden you have built this momentum. And when you build this momentum, you start to believe in yourself. Confidence grows not from success, but from follow through. So when you are doing things and you're proving to yourself, wow, I've followed through. Wow, I've trusted my gut. Wow, I've done the hard things. Wow, I've showed up when I didn't really want to show up. You get confidence because you're like, actually, I can do this. Actually, I can get a job. Actually, I can show up online. Prove to yourself that you can do something different. Act different than how you feel. And you will be blown away at the confidence that you get by just being different than you have been in the past. And last but not least, when you drop the excuses, people pay attention and you inspire them to do the same thing. So sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. When I was sharing my divorce journey a lot online, like I would have people be like, oh, you're really inspiring me. And I'm like, I don't want to inspire anybody to leave their husband. Let me be really clear. I believe in marriage. I love marriage. And I always point people to stay in a marriage if you can, because that is the path of least resistance. However, people watched they watched me get a job. They watched me take a stance. They watched me stand up for myself. They watched me make these massive changes in my life. And I have had so many people be like, you gave me the courage to walk away from an unhealthy marriage. You gave me the courage to walk away from an abusive spouse or whatever. With business, it's an absolute no-brainer. If people see you being successful, they have FOMO. They want part of it. They want to know what you did. They've watched you from showing up not at all, or being, this like kind of meek, not confident person. And then all of a sudden you're showing up and you're not making excuses. And you're saying like, I'm driving my kids to school and I'm still showing up. I work in this job and I'm still showing up. And all of a sudden they're like, wow, I am inspired, because if she can do it, then so can I. And so when you drop your excuses, there is so much good that can come from that. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be hard. It is going to be worth it. So here's a couple questions for you that I think you should ask yourself to stop making excuses, because we're all fucking sick of hearing them. Number one, what if this is the month that you stop lying to yourself? This is April 2nd. All right. We have the entire month is ahead of us. What if this is the month you're like, every time I catch myself making an excuse, I'm going to stop. I'm going to say, why am I lying to myself? Why am I doing this? What is the root of this excuse? Do I not believe in myself? Do I not believe in this marriage? Do I not believe in this person? Do I not believe in this opportunity? Am I afraid of failure? Am I afraid of success? Start asking yourself these questions and being honest with yourself. Writing things down can be a really powerful tool. The more powerful tool that I have been using recently is sitting in front of a mirror, looking at yourself. You got to fucking face your face. Look at yourself in the mirror and be like, what am I afraid of? What is the root of this? Why am I feeling this way? And really get fucking honest, because that is actually a very vulnerable thing. If you realize that when we look in a mirror, we don't look into our own eyes. We look at our body. We might look at our outfit. We might look at this. If you sit in front of a mirror and your sole focus is yourself and you look into your own eyes, it is actually like very, no pun intended, eye-opening, and you will see like all the ways in which you are creating stories or lying to yourself or making excuses. Number 2 is what would change if you stopped arguing for your limitations. What if you played devil's advocate and argued against your limitations and you said, well, I haven't never showed up on social media, but I bet I could. I've never built a business, but you're damn right. I bet I could. I've never, had to step out on my own and financially support myself, but I mean, why not? Let's argue for the cause. Let's play the devil's advocate and be like, why not me? Why can't I do this? If I just keep going one foot in front of the other, if I get scrappy, if I get gritty, if I stop making the fucking excuses, then maybe I can do it. Argue against your limitations. Last thing is this. What is one excuse that you've been using that you are willing to drop this week? What's it stopping you from? What is one thing that you're repeating to yourself, that you're saying, that you're believing, that you're creating a reality about? What is the excuse that you're making where you're like, I can't do that? I'll be first. Mine is like, I can't be alone. I can't live alone. Like I want a person. I want a spouse. I want this. That's an excuse for getting really fucking intimate with myself and tapping into a very deep part of myself that feels lonely. I feel deeply lonely. I was married for 10 years. I have had 5 children, and all of a sudden I have 50% of the time where I am by myself. And instead of diving in and getting creative and doing all these things, while I do my damnedest, I make excuses like, well, I'm just sad. I'm just lonely. I don't know what to do. I feel debilitated by this. So think about, what is one excuse that you've been using that you're willing to just drop this week? Just drop it for a week. Just sit it down, leave it for a minute, and see if even just stop like giving it life, breathing life into it, saying it out loud. See if that makes a difference. And then counteract it. Be like, what if I said, actually, I'm not poor. Actually, I can build this business. Actually, I can show up online. Actually, I can walk out of this like person's life and it's not going to be the end of the world. I can break up with this person. I can do this. Then what? Watch yourself whip, nay, and actually fucking do it. My biggest dream is that people stop fucking making excuses and they start to actually face their fears, which is what their excuses are. I don't have time. Yes, you do. You have time for what you prioritize. I don't have support. Yes, you do. Take some ownership. Stop blaming other people. I'm not like this person. I don't like that. You have courage. Stop choosing comfort. You can be those things. You can be that person. You can act that way. You can show up that way. You have to have the courage to be different, to be uncomfortable, to break the mold. And you absolutely can achieve so much more than you think you're capable of. Less excuses, more action. Let's do it, ladies. TTYL. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Summer of Me. Thanks for listening to The Summer of Me. You can listen to episodes on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube. Come hang out and follow my chaos on Instagram at Kendra for now. See you next time.